Hello, my dear friends. This is Nandakumar, your physics friend. Why I am a friend? I am learning physics here. You are learning physics. We are physics friends. No matter. Okay. You know very well. In physics, electrostatics is a very important area. In that, Gauss law is very important. That we have to learn from top to bottom. Generally, you have seen many number of lectures, but these are the steps you have to learn the Gauss law. First, you have to know electric field, electric flux density. Phi is equals to Q by epsilon naught, phi is equals to T bar dot A bar. This is Gauss law definition and applications of the Gauss law. These are the stages of Gauss law. So you must learn in a proper way. My wish is that you have to learn each and every point of the given topic, 7 topics. If you learn these 7 topics, my wish is that you can explain Gauss law to your friends. That is my challenge, right? Can we go for the topic? Beta, what is electric field, beta? What is electric field? What is meaning of electric field? Yes, if there is a charge, it can attract another charge or repel another charge up to certain distance. There is a repulsion, there is interaction and repulsion. Now you take position 2, small repulsion, because like charges. You take to the position 3, small repulsion between them. Such a way there is interaction, because this property influence on this gives repulsion force. After some distance, even though you keep this charge, there is no influence, there is no force on this charge. This influence or the force up to certain distance. That means this influence will be extend up to certain distance, right? Do the same thing here. Position 1, position 2, position 3. After some distance, there is no influence. So in this direction also up to certain distance. In this direction also up to certain distance. In this direction up to certain distance. In this direction certain distance. In this direction certain distance. So the electric property or this electric property will be limited up to certain space in all directions. This space which is influenced by this charge is called as electric field. Am I right? The space influenced by this charge is known as electric field. So it can produce the electric property, its influence up to certain distance, up to certain space. This space is called as electric field. I hope you can understand. Get my point? Now a big question, beautiful question. How many charges? There are 2 charges. One is positive charge, another one is negative charge. Positive charge and negative charge, can they produce same kind of electric field? Obviously different. The field created by positive charge is different, field created by negative charge is different. That we have to study. Is there any method to represent electric field and positive charge electric field and negative charge electric field? Is there any representation, good representation, simple representation? Yes, there is one simple representation, that is called electric flux. Are you getting my point? So can we go for the discussion of electric flux? Right. So I want to go for the topic and discussion of, I want to discuss about the electric flux. So let us assume, what is meant by flux? What is meant by electric flux? The path followed by unit positive charge. Unit positive charge. Are you getting my point? The path followed by unit positive charge, or it has a name test charge. Okay, suppose for example you take one positive charge. Are you getting my point? Keep one test charge here. Test charge, this is Q naught. I am writing Q naught. This is positive and this is positive. Always test charge is positive charge only. Whatever the charge you can take, but this is test charge, positive charge only. This is repulsion, in repulsion with this, so it has a repulsion in this direction. This will repel this test charge in this direction. So you keep here, this test charge is repelled in this direction, so it will occupy the new position, it will go in this direction. So the path followed by test charge in this direction, that means its property will be exhibited in this direction. You keep the test charge here. Are you getting my point? In this direction. So this property of the electric field in this direction, so therefore it is going in this direction. It gives repulsion, so it will go in this direction. While it is going in this direction, you can think that its property will be in this direction. So, right? So like this, the positive charge in what direction it will go, that is the electric lines of force. Are you getting my point? Suppose you take the negative charge. Negative charge. You keep test charge here. Test charge is always positive. It is in attraction with this. It has attraction with this. It has attraction with this. It has attraction with this. So the field or property of the electric field created by the negative charge in this direction, such a way, by taking the path followed by test charge, we can say negative charge electric field in this direction and positive charge electric field in this direction. Are you getting my point? Once you see there is some electric lines in this direction, without knowing yourself, you can say this is positive charge. And if there is any electric lines of force in this direction, you agree that this is negative charge. So the field created by this positive charge away from the positive, the field created by the negative charge towards the negative charged body, such a way, by showing the lines away from the charged body positive towards the charged body negative, such a way the field can be distinguished. This field is created by positive, this field is created by negative, by simply showing the lines of force. These lines, group of lines of electric lines of force, is called as electric flux. I hope you can understand better. So we will have a further discussion, further discussion. Okay, if you are happy and agreed with my explanation, I would like to put one small question. There is one unknown charge. I don't know the charge inside, it is positive or negative. I have drawn lines like this, right? Right beta. Another case, I have given one more charge, lines are given like this. Can you tell me which is positive charge, which is a negative charge? First one is positive. Arey beta, what wrong with that? Which lines is towards the charged body? Which lines are towards the body? That means the charged body is having negative charge. From which body? From which body the lines are going away? Then the body is positive charged body beta. Are you okay? If the lines towards the body negative, if the lines are away from the body, positive charged body. Such a way we have a representation. This simple representation is called electric lines of force. Again, I am coming to the point. What is electric lines of force? If you keep one test charge is positive, it follows this path. That means this is negative. This test charge is kept here, positive charge is moving in this direction. That means towards the body. The path followed towards the negative, so that it is indicated in this. The same test charge is kept here. It is in repulsion, it is going away. The path followed by test charge is the electric lines of force that indicates whether the body is positive or negative. And now, magnitude. How much charge inside? Is there any representation? I will come to the point. Okay, beta? A small question to your brain. A small question. I would like to show one body. Here, 3 bodies I would like to show. Right? It is a relative comparison. I hope you got idea what charge this is, what charged body this is. So, as per given observation, this body is indicated by 4 lines of force, right? Those are towards the body. Second example, this body also having the electric lines of force towards the body, but it has almost double. Kala chashma, almost double, right? If this is, it is said it is 8 coulomb, minus 8 coulomb. Why minus? Why negative? Yes, since it is, these lines are represented towards the body, that means the body is negative charged body, and he mentioned that minus 8 coulomb. Now the question, if it is the similar condition, what is this charge? In comparison, in a given condition, please compare these 2 diagrams. If this is minus 8 coulomb, how much this charge is? That is the question. Right? Right. 4 lines, 8 coulomb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 lines, 8 coulomb. 8 lines, 4 lines, 8 coulomb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 lines, 4 lines, 8 coulomb. 8 lines, 16 coulomb. So 16 coulomb. Negative, because towards the body. Such a way, for simple representing, for getting idea, we can use electric lines of force. That means flux is directly proportional. Lines are called flux, is directly proportional to charge inside. If double the lines, double the charge. Triple the lines, triple the charge. Such a way you can represent how much charge, relative comparison. So this is double. How you can say this is double? Because lines are double, charge is double. Get my point? Now third example I want to give you. Okay, beta? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. In these similar conditions, what is this charge? Can you guess? Can you guess? How much charge that is? Can you guess? Yes, beta, you can guess. If 4 lines represent 8 coulomb, 8 lines represent 16 coulomb, 12 lines represent how many coulombs? Come on, beta. Double the lines, double the charge. Triple the lines, triple the charge. 24 coulomb. such a relative comparison, we can use electric lines of force. But the nature I want to know. Since these lines towards the body, negative charge. Since it is away from the body, positive charge. Such a way to get idea about the charge nature and magnitude, we can use electric lines of force. That is the relative comparison. I hope you can understand better. Okay. One more advantage I will tell you. So these lines, can you see electric lines of force? How are they? Almost all. If you, excuse me, assume these are parallel and equidistant. Parallel having same distance, equidistant, called equidistant. Okay. Compare these two diagrams. Come on. Compare these two diagrams. Come on, yaar. In comparison, you can get one idea. The first case, uniform electric field. What is that? Uniform electric field. If these lines are electric lines of force, uniform electric field. This is non-uniform electric field. How can you say one is uniform electric field, another one is non-uniform electric field? Yes, your assumption is correct. Your assumption is correct, 100% right. What is that? I will tell you. Equidistance at starting and ending, those are equidistant and parallel to each other. Equidistant, parallel to each other. Equidistant, parallel to each other. Uniform electric field. Why? Equidistant and parallel to each other. Parallel to each other. Are you getting my point? That is uniform electric field. What kind of electric field? Uniform electric field. How you can represent uniform electric field? Come on here. Parallel to each other and equidistance from starting to ending. But in this case, this is non-uniform electric field. Maybe looking nice. That is not the matter. At one starting, they are very close. At ending, they are very far. Close, denser, further. So the density of the lines, electric lines, different. The distance between them varied. Non-uniform. What kind? Non-uniform electric field. Get my point? So, and one more interesting thing, this is non-uniform because the distance between the lines, between the electric lines are varied and not parallel. Not parallel. Are you getting my point? And one more interesting thing, in this case, can you say one, I am talking about for this diagram, can you say one is stronger or the point 2 is strong electric field? Can you tell me? Is it 1 or 2? Yes. Yes. 1 is strong electric field than the second electric field. Okay? Why? Because if you take small area, in this area 3 lines, if you take the small area, same area, you can take here, you can draw here, little bit. Only one line is passing through that. For the same area, more number of lines. For the same area, less number of lines. With this comparison, you can represent this is a stronger field, this is weaker field. Such a way to give the information, if you want to give the information about the electric field, okay, you can draw the lines. So which is strong field, first one or second one? First one is stronger field because in unit area more lines of force. Weak field, less number of lines of force. Such a way to represent about the electric field, one of the best representation, that is electric lines of force. I hope you can understand. Please you follow me. Definitely I hope that I will give good information. I will continue the topic. So in further discussion, there is a one word I want to introduce to you. One is electric flux density or electric field intensity, my dear. Electric flux density, electric field intensity. Get my point? Right. This is electric lines of force. That means there is some electric field. Am I right? Already we have a discussion at 1 or at 2 where electric field is stronger. Take area, same area, more number of lines, strong field, less number of lines, weak field. The same manner you can come to the conclusion. Take some area here, take same area here, same area, almost all same. Where the field is stronger, come on, at point 1, 3 lines are passing through this area. At 2, 1 line is passing through that area. That means here electric field is weak, here electric field is strong. So the flux, electric lines per unit area, electric lines or flux or electric lines are represented with phi. Get my point? Electric flux per unit area, that means flux per unit area, phi by A, flux per area. Here more number of lines for the same area, less number of lines. Where intensified in area, first case, and in the second case, where more number of lines per the same area, where more number of lines per the same area. First case more number, second case less number. Okay, here you can say phi 1 greater than phi 2. This is these lines phi 1, this line is phi 2. So flux per unit area, flux per unit area is called flux density per area, per unit area. Flux per unit area is called flux density. Here flux density is more, here flux density is less. That means lines is less on the area. Therefore here electric field is stronger, means intensified. So electric field intensity or flux density at point 1 is greater than point 2. So at nearer points electric field intensity is stronger than point 2. Am I right, beta? Am I right? Right. Thank you. For the discussion, for giving one mathematical representation, right? For giving one mathematical representation, we have a small discussion. Okay? There are 2 different cases I gave you, right? E is the electric field. These lines are electric field in which there is one plane. One case, in this electric field there is one plane, in which case the flux passing through this area is maximum. in which case the electric lines passing through this plane is minimum? There are two different cases. I hope you have seen two different cases. One is lines through this plane and lines through this plane are different. Through this maximum, through this minimum. In which case lines are maximum through this plane? In which case lines are minimum through this plane? Come on. This case 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. In this case nothing here. Meow meow. No lines. Yes. Study the case. If this is the plane, its normal is taken as the area vector of the plane, right? Area vector or normal, if it is in the direction of electric field, the flux will be maximum. That I have written. When a vector or normal of the area, okay, is in the direction of E, is in the direction of E, flux is maximum. When a vector or normal of the area is perpendicular to E, flux is minimum. When flux is minimum, area vector is perpendicular to E, flux is minimum. Area vector or normal is in the direction of electric field, flux is maximum. That is one method. Another method, plane is, this is the plane, is perpendicular. Either plane perpendicular or area is in the direction of E. Simple, any one of them. Area vector is parallel to electric field, flux is maximum. Area vector is perpendicular to electric field, flux is minimum. This is the best representation. So in this conclusion we will get one more discussion. In the previous discussion, if area vector is perpendicular in the direction of electric field or parallel, flux through this plane is maximum. If area vector is perpendicular to the plane, flux is minimum. If the area vector makes an angle theta, right, this area vector has to be divided into two components. In the direction, suppose any time, if any vector r bar, it makes an angle theta, this component it will be adjacent r cos theta, this side will be r sin theta. The same manner, if area vector makes an angle theta, this side it will be adjacent a cos theta, other side will be a sin theta. Like that you have to divide into two components. Could you get my point? I gave you explanation. R theta side will be adjacent r cos theta, other side will be r sin theta. Same manner, a cos theta, a sin theta. If it is, this is area vector, that plane belongs to like this. This is area vector a sin theta. This plane can be like this. So come on, in which case electric flux is maximum? As per this discussion, if area vector in the direction of electric field, flux is maximum, this flux will be minimum, okay, right? Almost all negligible. Therefore this component you can cut. So therefore a cos theta is a area vector. This is the electric field intensity. Electric field intensity has one more name. What is that? A flux density. Am I right? So if it is a flux density, electric field intensity is equals to flux lines by a cos theta. Are you getting my point? Therefore phi is equals to Ea cos theta. Since these are the vectors, phi is equals to E bar dot AB cos theta means A bar dot B bar. Flux has a mathematical representation E bar dot A bar. If electric field and area vector, makes an angle theta, that has to be divided into two components, A cos theta and A sin theta. A cos theta plane like this, okay, like that. Are you getting my point? That shows the flux electric field intensity or flux density is flux by area, flux per unit area. That is equals to phi is equals to E bar dot A bar. Flux formula E bar dot A bar. If electric field and area vector makes an angle theta, the flux will be EA cos theta, that is E bar dot A bar. So we can go for Gauss law further. Got one formula, phi is equals to EA cos theta, just we have derived. Phi is equals to EA cos theta, E bar dot A bar cos theta. How to use this formula, right? Look at here, there is one uniform cylinder is in a uniform electric field, right? How much flux is received by this? How much flux obtained in the to this cylinder? There are three portions you can see. One is this circular part, another circular part, and one lateral part. Suppose for example, if you discuss about part 1, first part, it's electric area vector in this direction and electric field in this direction. I'm talking about this one, or otherwise if you want I will draw here. Area vector in this direction and electric field in this direction. You may ask the question, sir, why do you draw area vector in this direction? Why not in this direction? Area vector is always outside and perpendicular to the surface. This for cross sectional area, this is the normal and that is outward of the body. So that is the area vector. So what is angle between them? Phi is equals to EA cos 180. Therefore phi is equals to minus EA. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? A is equals to pi r square if its radius is r, pi r square. So phi 1 is equals to E minus E pi r square, right? If its radius is r, minus pi r square. Length is L, radius is r, let us assume. This part I am talking about, this is part 1, this part I am talking about part 2, cylindrical part 2. This is its area vector and its electric field in this direction. What is the angle between them? Theta is equals to 0 degrees. Phi 2, flux received by this second area, E A cos 0. Phi 2 is equals to E pi r square. Sir, why did you take area vector in this direction? Okay beta, outwards, perpendicular to the surface. Outward, perpendicular to the surface, you have to take it, pi r square. And what is the last part of the cylinder? Lateral surface. This is the lateral surface. This part, that area. So if you take its area vector in this direction, right, that is how much? 2 pi RL. But electric field in this direction, what is the angle between them? Theta is equals to 90 degrees. So every part of the cylindrical part is perpendicular to this electric field. Therefore phi is equals to, this is the third part, flux by the third part is equals to E 2 pi E, and area is A3, let you say A3 cos 90. Why? Because this area vector and this electric field, every part of the cylinder area vector is perpendicular to this. See, look at here, perpendicular to this. So phi 3 is equals to E 2 pi RL, but that is cos 90 0. therefore phi 3 is equals to 0. According to, since we can take total electric flux phi is equals to phi 1 plus phi 2 plus phi 3, then you can get total flux phi is equals to how much? This is minus e pi r square, right? This is second part, this is the first part, flux of the first area, flux of the second area, flux of the third area is 0, second area is e pi r square, third area is 0, therefore total will be 0. So what you can get the conclusion, of this example, when a closed surface, closed object is kept in the uniform electric field, net flux will be 0. Whenever a closed body is kept in uniform electric field, net flux will be 0. Could you get my point? When a closed surface, closed body is kept in uniform electric field, net flux will be 0. I hope you can understand, right? One important question I want to discuss with you better. If you learn this question, really you will get a satisfaction. Can I go for that question? Right? Are you ready? Right? Okay, come on. What is the net flux of the cube of side A kept in the electric field? What is the flux through this cube which is kept in the electric field E is equals to E naught xi, which is extended from x is equals to a to x is equals to 2a. This cube is extended from x is equals to a to x is equals to 2a. In this cube, how much flux? Right? So first, in this electric field, if there is a plane, flux phi is equals to E a cos theta. So how many planes are there? First you come to the point. How many planes are there? First, come on. This is A, D, H, E. I would like to draw this. Right? A, D, H, E. Let us assume here the electric field is E1. What I thought, this is the first plane. How much this value will be? E naught at what distance x value? A. The area vector is A square. Why do you take area outside? Outside of the body. Area vector is always outside of the body. So the flux 1 is equals to E1 area A square into cos 180. Why I have taken cos 180 beta? Because these two are in opposite direction, angle is 180 degrees. Therefore flux through the first plane, this is the first plane. First plane, E1 value is E naught A into A square into minus 1. Flux through the first plane is minus E naught A cube. I hope you can understand. Which is the first plane? ADHE. ADHE. Here the electric field is E naught x, where x value is A. Area vector is A square, opposite direction, cos 180 minus 1 A naught A cube. Next I would like to take second plane. This is the second plane. Which is the second plane? HGCD. Where is HGCD? HGCD. Right? This is HGCD. I would like to draw here. HGCD. area vector A square, electric field in this direction, whatever the value it is, because it is along positive x-axis, therefore in this direction, angle between them is 90 degrees. So phi 2, if you say that is second plane, phi 2 is equals to E A square cos 90. Therefore flux through the second plane is 0. Get my point? I would like to go for the third plane. This is the third plane. Which is third plane? AB FE or otherwise EF AB. EF AB. Can I draw EF AB? Here, can I draw here? EF AB. Here, this is EF AB. That means BA. Its area vector A square in this direction, electric field in this direction. What is the angle between them? 90 degrees. What is the angle between them? 90 degrees. Therefore, flux phi 2 is equals to E A square cos 90. Therefore, phi 2 flux through the second plane will be 0. Flux through the second plane is 0. Get my point? And third one, I would like to go for, this is first plane is over, second plane is over, third plane is over. Next, this is the ABCD. You can understand ABCD. Where is ABCD? Where is ABCD? ABCD. Right? ABCD. Its area vector in this direction, outwards. Electric field in this direction, whatever it is. Angle between them 90 degrees. Therefore, flux through that ABCD is 0. Next, ABCD is over and EFGH. Look at here, EFGH. Can I draw EFGH? EFGH. Area vector outwards, electric field in this direction, angle between them is 90 degrees, flux will be 0. And the last plane, one is left. Which is left? This is left. This is sixth plane. GFBC. GFBC. In what direction? GFBC. Here the electric field in this direction and area vector in this direction. Why I said electric field E6? Because one reason, because here electric field depends on x, that x value is 2a. This electric field is E naught into 2a and angle between them is 0 degrees. Therefore phi 6 is equals to E6, that means electric field E6 A square and cos 0. E6 value is how much? E naught 2a. E naught 2a into a square into 1. That means phi 6 is equals to 2 E naught a cube. So how much total flux will be? Phi is equals to phi 1, phi 2, phi 3. Get my point? Phi 4, phi 5 and phi 6. You know very well. Phi 1 is how much? Minus E naught a cube. Phi 2 0, phi 3 0, phi 4 0, phi 5 0. Last one, phi 6 is 2 E naught a cube. So what left? Phi is equals to E naught a cube is the answer. So if you try to learn seriously and follow, watch once and twice, you can understand, I hope. Okay? Yes. One more important discussion. while you are finding the flux, right, this is the closed boundary. To this closed boundary there is a charge which is outside of the closed boundary, so it creates electric field in all directions. Particularly one direction we have taken, in all directions, nothing wrong. It creates electric field in all directions. We have to draw the electric lines in all directions, but we have taken one electric lines of force which is passing through this closed boundary, right? Take one small area dA, area vector which is always outside of the body, dA, outside, and electric field is E. Here outside dA, small element area outwards, and electric field in this direction. Here theta is 0, here theta is 180 degrees. So if you want to find the flux in the first surface, phi 1 is equals to E dA cos 180. That means phi 1 is equals to minus E dA. Get my point? Right? Here at point 2, flux phi is equals to E dA. What is the angle between them? 0. Phi 2 is equals to E dA. So how much flux is received? Phi net is equals to phi 1 plus phi 2, but the first plane minus C dA, second plane plus EDA. Total flux will be 0. Total flux will be 0. So the conclusion is that flux due to outside charge of the closed boundary will be 0. What is the question? Flux given by the outward charge to the closed surface will be 0. Suppose this is outward charge to this. Enter and leaving. So entering is E dA, angle between them 180 degrees, minus C dA. While it is leaving, electric field and flux are in same direction. Therefore, you can take E dA, angle between them is 0. Net flux is 0. Flux due to outside charge of the closed boundary will be 0. Flux due to outside charge to the closed boundary will be 0. Right? 0. Right? Such a way we have to study about the effect of the internal charge. Get my point? So now how we discuss about flux due to the external charge is 0, we have to think about this is the closed boundary in which there is one charge. Are you getting my point? It creates electric field in all directions, right? Take one small elemental area dA, electric field E, angle between them 0 degrees, theta is equals to 0 degrees. Similarly, here the electric field is away from positive charge, electric field in this direction, area vector is always outwards, theta is equals to 0. Therefore, this is first point, this is second point. Let us see. At first point, flux phi is equals to E dA cos 0. So phi 1 is equals to E dA, right? So phi 2 is equals to E dA. Here also angle is 0, cos 0. Therefore phi 2 is equals to E dA. So therefore net flux is not cancelled. Phi net is equals to E dA plus E dA. So this is not 0. Finite is not equal to 0. Finite is not equal to 0. Are you getting my point? The flux due to charge inside the closed surface is not equal to 0. Is not equal to 0. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? So the flux created by the charge inside the closed surface is not equal to 0. This is the entire explanation, my dear. Then not equal to 0. How much? That is the basic step of the Gauss law. Are you getting my point? Basic. We are coming to the point of Gauss law. Basic step. Then how much? See, if this charge is doubled, lines are doubled, charge is tripled, flux is tripled. Like that, this phi net is directly proportional to charge inside. So therefore phi net is equals to Q by epsilon naught. But what charge this is? Inside charge. This is the basic fundamental step of Gauss law. This is the first step of Gauss law. This is the first step of Gauss law. If there is any closed surface area and some charge is inside the closed surface area, the flux would be Q inside by epsilon naught. Getting my point? So this is a basic step. Then I would like to go for the next point, next explanation. Further discussion. If Q charge is inside the closed surface area, the flux value will be Q by epsilon naught. Okay. In another expression, I want to go for. This is first step of Gauss law. And second step, it creates the electric field in all directions. Let us assume it is a spherical surface. Right? So spherical surface, that means, just a moment, I would like to draw in a better way. This is one closed surface area. Inside there is a one small charge, right? This charge, if there is a charge inside, it creates the flux of phi. Total flux is phi on the closed surface area. So it can create in all directions the total flux. All these fluxes together can be phi. If a small area is taken, this is ds, this is electric field E. Are you getting my point? Throughout the surface, the flux will be phi. But small area, the flux you can call d phi. That d phi is equals to E ds. Are you getting my point? E ds, because you are taking a small area. Here ds, the electric field is E. The total flux d phi is equals to E ds. What is the meaning of d phi? The flux passing through this small area. If I want total flux, you have to consider the total area, this area, this area, this area. So flux is passing through this area, flux is passing through this area, flux is passing. If you consider all the small ds together, you will get the total flux. Total flux d phi is equals to total E ds. Since electric field is constant, integration ds. Are you getting my point? Flux. This is the second step of Gauss law. This is second step of Gauss law. Second step of Gauss law. Are you getting my point? First step is, if Q charge is inside the closed surface area, the flux created phi is equals to Q by epsilon naught. This is first step of Gauss law. Are you getting my point? So can I explain once again? If Q charge is inside the closed surface area, how much flux is created? That is Q by epsilon naught. If the same Q is kept inside the closed surface. The same thing, the shape is taken spherical for our understanding. So if you take one small elemental area, the flux through this area ds will be d phi. If you want the total flux, you have to go for integrate, count all the areas, you will get the total flux. Flux is equals to E ds. This is the second step. If these two we are studying about the same charge, suppose this is the surface area, same spherical body, both explaining the same thing. So from equation 1 and 2, this is Gauss law. Now Gauss law states that it is a mathematical expression. Electric field at this point, electric field at this point, electric flux at this point, E integration ds. Flux due to this charge, that value will be Q by epsilon naught. We are talking in both cases, the thing is same. Therefore, E integration ds is equals to Q by epsilon naught, but that is inside. This is the Gauss law expression. Electric field intense at a point and closed surface area product is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times of charge inside the closed surface area. That is the Gauss law. Are you getting my point? The Gauss law is nothing but electric field at a point and the closed surface area is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times of charge inside. This statement, mathematical statement, is called as Gauss law. So how to utilize this equation I will explain step by step, then you will be very happy. Okay, right? Definition I am doing Gauss law. If there is a charge inside the closed surface area, right, at r distance, the electric field intensity E, the electric field intensity and closed surface area is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times of charge inside. This mathematical representation is called Gauss law. Electric field intensity on the closed surface area is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times of Q inside, right? So by giving example you can understand. Okay, so can I give you example? So for example, look at here. I want to find electric field intensity of charged conducting sphere. This is charged conducting sphere, right beta? Charged conducting sphere. Q charge is given, right? I want to find the electric field intensity first inside point. So I want to find electric field intensity at point P, right? So from center to this point P, the distance is r. With this distance I have to draw one imaginary surface. This imaginary surface is called Gaussian surface. Are you able to see? This is Gaussian surface. What we can call Gaussian surface. This Gaussian surface we have drawn. How we have drawn Gaussian surface? If you want to find the electric field intensity at point P, from center to point P the distance is taken. With this distance I have drawn one imaginary surface in the shape of the object, right? At the moment electric field intensity at point P is assumed as E, closed surface area. This closed Gaussian surface area is equals to Q inside by epsilon naught. How much charge inside the closed surface area? No charge, right? Therefore, since inside the Gaussian surface area no charge, the electric inside the Gaussian surface area is 0. And what is the Gaussian surface area? This Gaussian surface area 4 pi r square is equals to, inside the Gaussian surface area 0, outside charge of the Gaussian surface cannot be taken. Already we have discussion, outside charge will not be affect. So 0 by epsilon naught. Therefore electric field inside will be 0. Right? Suppose on the surface, are you getting my point? On the surface. So this is the, again I have taken, this is charge q, this is charge q, right? Where do you want to find the electric field? Here on the surface you want to find electric field. From center to that point P, you have to take the distance capital R. With help of that to draw the Gaussian surface, right? You want to find the electric field intensity at point P, which is at R distance. With this distance I have drawn an imaginary surface that is in the shape of given object. So electric field in Gauss law I would like to write E ds integration surface area is equals to Q inside by epsilon naught. So electric field intensity is E. How much surface area? Since its radius is R, 4 pi r square. How much charge inside? Either inside or on the surface, no problem. If this charge is on the Gaussian surface, that can be taken as inside, Q by epsilon naught. So E is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square. What is the electric field intensity inside the point? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square. If it is outside point, okay, look at here. This is the, again I have drawn, the charge is given like this. I want to find electric field intensity outside point. From here to here, with this distance I have to draw one imaginary surface area, right? Here electric field intensity Q inside by epsilon naught. E, how much closed surface area? This is Gaussian surface. With this distance you have drawn one imaginary line, that is called, this is called Gaussian surface area. Gaussian surface area. How much? 4 pi r square. The total charge Q is inside the Gaussian surface area Q by epsilon naught. Therefore electric field intensity is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square. Such a way you can apply the Gauss law. Are you getting my point? My dear students, my dear friends, you are not our students, you are the friends, because we are learning the physics. Are you getting my point? So since already video completed more than 1 hour, so I should make how to apply the Gauss law one more video, next video. Please you follow that and you will get more clarity and on the applications of Gauss law. So okay, I wish that you will enjoy the videos. If you subscribe and encourage me, I will do more videos at my best. Only this is friend is friend, forever friend. Now we are studying about uniform charge distributed solid sphere. Electric field intensity of uniformly charge distributed solid sphere with Gauss law. Right? Now we are going to the topic. Come to the point. There is one uniformly charge distributed solid sphere. Are you getting my point? The total charge inside the solid sphere is Q. What is the charge inside the solid sphere? Q. I want to find the electric field at this point P. Get my point? I want to find the electric field at the point P. So in the throughout the volume, charge is Q. Suppose when you draw one Gaussian surface, how to draw Gaussian surface? If you have a doubt, don't get tension, I will tell you. So simple, from center to this point you take the distance. With this distance, what is the shape of the object? In the same shape you draw the one imaginary surface. This imaginary surface is called as Gaussian surface. Are you getting my point? From center to this point you take one line, equidistance, draw a line of equidistance which is in the shape of the object. You can draw it. This is Gaussian surface. What is that? Gaussian surface. In Gaussian surface, how much charge? Let us assume Q dash. Are you getting my point? So for total volume, total charge is Q. For this volume, let you say charge is Q dash. So V meant for 4/3 pi r cube, meant for charge Q. This is up to radius r. 4/3 pi r cube meant for Q dash. So charge density can be taken total charge by total volume, total charge by total volume, and part of the volume having charge Q dash with the volume 4/3 pi r cube. So 4/3 pi cancel. Q by r cube into small r cube is the charge inside the Gaussian surface. Inside the Gaussian surface, how much charge? Q dash. What is the Q dash? Total charge into total radius r cube by small r cube. This much of the charge inside the Gaussian surface. Are you getting my point? Inside the Gaussian surface, how much charge? This much of the charge. Now you apply the Gauss law. Come on. The same thing I am drawing here. This is the point P. You have drawn Gaussian surface. How much charge you mentioned? Q dash is the charge and its radius is r. So Gauss law is, here electric field intensity is E. E integration ds is equals to Q inside by epsilon naught. Get my point? Q inside by epsilon naught. Therefore electric field intensity into, this is a spherical shaped body, 4 pi r square by Q inside, that is Q dash, by epsilon naught. So E into 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, right? 1 by r square into Q dash. Q dash how much? This is, put here, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, 1 by r square. Q is how much? Q by r cube into small r cube. Here the charge Q dash I taken from that r square, r cube cancel. So electric field intensity inside the uniformly charged sphere, this body, this is I have represent here, inside is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r cube into small r, right? Q by r cube into small r. This is, with increasing the distance, this electric field increases. How we know? This is constant, this is constant, this is variable. Therefore E proportional to r inside the uniformly charged distributed solid sphere. Are you getting my point? Suppose it is on the surface, what will happen? It is outside the point, what will happen? We will study. Are you getting my point better? Inside how much we got? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. How much inside you got? I will write here 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R cube into smaller you got. Are you getting my point? This is I have written, and this relation E proportional to R. Now I would like to go for on the surface. I would like to go for on the surface. On the surface. I want to go for on the surface. How to find out the electric field of the uniformly charged distributed body on the surface? This is uniformly charged body. Already we know that. How much charge inside? Total charge is Q. You know very well. Here you want to find what is the distance R. Here electric field you have to find. With this distance you draw one imaginary surface. This imaginary surface is called as Gaussian surface. Are you getting my point? What is that? Gaussian surface. So how much charge is inside? The total charge is inside the Gaussian surface. So E into imaginary surface ds is equals to Q by epsilon naught, because total charge is inside. So how much surface area? It is a spherical body. 4 pi r square into Q by epsilon naught. Therefore E is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square. This is the electric field intensity on the surface. Are you getting my point, butter? If it is outside, if you want outside, here we can do that. This is on the surface, this is outside. If you want to know, so this is the spherical body, uniformly charged distributed body. You can take outside point P. It is r distance. Here the electric field intensity. So you draw Gaussian surface. How to draw the Gaussian surface? From center to that point, take the distance. Equidistant points, you join them. You will get one imaginary surface. This imaginary surface is Gaussian surface. Are you getting my point? In this Gaussian surface, how much charge? Q, total charge is inside. E integration ds is equals to Q by epsilon naught. E on the outside point. How much total Gaussian surface area? 4 pi r square is equals to Q by epsilon naught. E outside is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square. Are you getting my point? Electric field intensity outside the